Loveline is meant for an adult audience. Loveline may contain sexually oriented content. Listener discretion is advised.
Adam Carolla, Dr. Drew.
I'm not modeling anymore for the two of you.
Loveline.
It is Loveline. I'm Adam Carolla. He is Dr. Drew. Phone number 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number 310-854-4455. Dr. Drew is a board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist. Tonight, our guest is Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. He is the author of Dating Secrets of the Ten Commandments and Kosher Sex, and he was on this show. I think he was here last night. It wasn't that long ago that he was on the show.
But I wasn't here. I wasn't
Yes,
here.
we rarely have this kind of turnaround. Normally, the fastest a guest will be on this show is once a year.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 months or 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
The rabbi was on the show, seemed like 2.5 months ago. I had a great time with him. I found him interesting and provocative. Drew, who really wanted to speak to the rabbi, was not in town. What a surprise, doing some other work while he was on the company dime. But he's in town this time, and ironically enough, working on something else while the rabbi is here. Close the goddamn computer, Drew, please. So, Rabbi, good to see you. Good to have you back.
It's great to see you. And I was just reminding you when we just came into the studio here that all those lines you fed me that night, they've, occupied a permanent place in my psyche.
The Jews have a good ear for witticisms. That's what I like about them.
Well, with our kind of history, man, you got to learn to laugh. How could we have survived if we couldn't see the lighter side of all that?
It is a great religion and culture for storytelling and laughing. And my grandfather was a Hungarian Jew, and between the Jew and the Hungarian part, that was it.
That's where you got your humor.
Stories went on. Yeah, I'm not related to him though.
Oh, that's right. Well, you
my biological grandfather was an alcoholic short order cook who beat my grandmother. And was
you absorbed that too, strangely.
Killed by the police, but for the fifth grade education.
But this grandfather, did it at least make you feel really guilty? Did that stay with you?
Yeah, he Drew, I'm gonna dump my coffee on that thing. I swear to Christ. Would you slam that thing shut, please? Well, shut it and put it on.
A man's laptop is like a mistress. You know, you have an affair with it.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate distraction.
My grandfather would do, here was the Jewish kind of thing that my grandfather would do. I'd go over, I'd visit him, I'd hang out for a couple hours, then I'd say, okay, Grandpa, well, I got to be leaving now, so I'm going to go. And he'd go, you're leaving? And you'd go, see, they make you say it again. The Jews make you say everything twice. Yeah. Yes, I have to leave. So you're going to go? Yeah. Okay, I'm staying.
And then he probably said something like, it's okay, go, I'll stay or be all by myself. I'll probably die after you leave, and then only my rotting corpse will be sniffed one day by a neighbor, but go.
Yeah, you go, enjoy. I have some stale graham crackers that should keep me alive until you come again, but enjoy, you're young. Yeah, he was great. The rabbi, I want to say this to Rabbi Shmuley. I went and did something for the Man Show last week where I went into a synagogue and with some real serious Orthodox Jews. I mean, heavy Judy, I would call these guys. I mean, these guys were the Jewiest of all Jews. They were Jew outside, Jew inside. And these guys, first off, I'm starting to think this is serious study of religion is really an excuse not to work, because it was Tuesday, it was about 11 a.m., and all these guys were just piled into this Jewish clubhouse just hanging out, eating and hanging out.
Work is a four-letter word. We Jews don't use profanity. That's not...
They had this thing they strapped me up to, this box that went on my head. I didn't know the Jews wore anything but the yarmulke on the head, but
Adam,
they put this box.
The Scientologist got a hold of you, that's all.
I swear it was a box they put on my head, and then they wrapped the thing around my arm.
They wrap leather around your arm.
Right.
Very, very erotic thing. This is like, maybe they liked you. Maybe they were attracted to you.
Oh,
no, actually,
God.
It's called tefillin, and it's... special parchment from Scripture are contained in those leather boxes, and the idea is it sort of facilitates the integration of the mind and the heart.
You know what it really is? It's not to fill in, it's to kill in time. This thing takes about an hour and 45.
To fill in time.
Fill time. This is going to take about an hour and a half to put on, maybe another couple hours to take off. That should kill the better part of the day.
Did they know that you weren't Jewish?
Well, I told him. It was funny. I was
Or
like,
was it when they sort of wrapped you, or they sort of like had you totally imprisoned in this leather before
Well,
you could say, well, I'm not exactly an MOT member of the tribe?
they sort of made me an honorary Jew because they said,
You told them you were circumcised.
I said, my mother, they said, well, what is your last name? I said, Carolla. They said, that's not Jewish. I said, yeah, but, my mother's Jewish. And they said, yeah, what's her last name? Her maiden name's McCall. I paused for a good 10 count and went,
Just kidding.
Wittenberg. They went, all right, you're in. Strap him up to the box. And they put that tefillin box on my head, and it was great. We noshed. It was a wonderful thing. A lot of those guys need a shower and a shave, though. I got some news for you.
Well, I need a shave.
You've hung around with those guys, right? They could use a shower and a shave. Am I right?
Yeah, but a lot of these guys shave. They put on their aftershave with names like 7 Nights in the Stable, and they don't smell much better either. So some of this artificial scent is even worse than the real thing.
It's tough. It's a tough religion hygienically. You know?
You remember that famous line from Napoleon, getting into the whole sexual thing straight away, about where he writes to Josephine, "I'll be home in 3 days. Don't bathe."
Yeah.
People were once more very sensual when it came to lovemaking. They actually liked the natural scent. Today we think it's disgusting. But there was a time when people actually saw it as an aphrodisiac.
Yeah, but these guys got a letter from Napoleon that said, I'm going to be back in 3 years. Don't shave, shower, or do anything.
I watch you guys on MTV all the time. Big fan of Dr. Drew, so I'm really happy to be here. This is not patronizing, okay? We Jews don't patronize. We've been through too much for that. But so I'm on the show with Adam last time, Dr. Bruce, and the very first question is a 16-year-old kid calls up and says, I'm having sex with my girlfriend, and we're having oral sex, and she has this terrible odor down there. That's my introduction to Loveline, right? So... that's an example. He thinks it's this terrible odor. What do you think a woman is? She's a Barbie doll that only smells of shrink wrap, for goodness sake? Does she only have some plasticky smell? What is wrong with the odor used to be a bit of an aphrodisiac. And these rabbis who you met, they're into that, man. The fact that you are a male who suffers some sensual deprivation, don't take it out on the Jews.
Oh,
would you rather we can smell from matzo ball soup or something? I mean, we can sort of put gefilte fish. And
that I could handle. I'm telling you, it was a big. All they're missing is a big screen TV. That's all they needed for this thing to just be a clubhouse. All right, Drew, would you put away the computer?
Go ahead. Come on, let's go. Seriously.
Listen here, Jackhole. You're here to talk to the rabbi.
I can do 2 things at once. I know that bothers you.
Oh, yeah, 2 things at once. What have you done in the last 20 minutes on this damn show?
I know that bothers you.
You can't do 2 things at once. You know the 2 things you can do at once?
Yeah.
Work on the computer and lie to me about being able to do 2 things at once. Those are the 2 things you can do at once. You've sat here for the last 9 minutes. You haven't said 1 syllable. 1 syllable. Is that doing your job? Is you sitting behind a microphone and not saying a goddamn word into it doing your job?
Is that
you're waiting for Rabbi to come on the show?
We're talking here.
Oh, he's talking now, everybody. Listen.
If I weren't looking at something else while he was talking and spoke up while he was talking, then there'd be hell to pay for that.
That's right.
It's, you're interrupting my genius. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Drew.
So when I sit back and let you go, then that's no good either because you're distracted. I don't understand. Let's get on with things.
Okay, so what if I brought my computer in
Be great.
and I just worked on my website during the show?
That if you could do 2 things at once, that'd be fine.
Well, it'd be fine. I wouldn't have to say anything. I'd be no talking. 0 talking for the first 10 minutes of the show. Fine. Drew, you cannot do 2 things at once. You don't realize it. The guest that you were absent at last time because you're doing another one of your jobs other than this job is now here tonight so that you can be with him, and you're working on a 3rd job and ignoring the guest.
Look, everything today comes in the form of computer eufemisms. So you're having this video stream of consciousness here, and Drew is actually he's processing information. So I see nothing wrong with that. He's about to. I'm sure there's going to be this flow of genius.
Nice. Listen, Drew. Do you know you have not said 1 word, not 1 word in this show so far?
Not 1 word?
No, that was the first. That was it. You defending yourself was the first words that you uttered the entire show.
You're giving
yes,
him.
You're all right.
All this is Adam with all this unworked through mental guilt from his grandfather that he's now sort of just passing straight on to you. This is a Jewish guilt trip. You are seeing this is the living embodiment of one. This is the way I grew up. All of us have, and now he's just passing it on.
No, it is not.
And this guy, and Drew, is calm like the Buddha. This is going to bounce back like a rubber wall.
He's calm. He's dead like the Buddha. That's what he is. Forget about calm. He's in the ground like the Buddha.
Let's talk to John.
Put your computer shut the lid and talk
Yes,
to the
Your Royal
rabbi.
Highness. Yes, Your Royal
He's
Highness.
here tonight. He's your guest.
We are talking. Rabbi
Oh,
asked
my
me to pull
God.
something up for him, too, by the way. That's what we're doing.
No, I wanted to see Drew's website. I really did.
Yeah, after he ran in, met you in the parking lot and told you, if you want to see my website, you want to see my website, you want to see my website. Yeah, all right.
Is that what happened?
Yes. John?
Rabbi?
He was out there with a sandwich board, actually, with his website thing. No, I wanted to see the website. I heard a lot
All
about
right.
the website.
Well, you look at it during the commercial. John?
Hey, what's up?
14.
What's up, mayonnaise?
Hey.
What's up? Hey, what's up, Dr. Drew? And your site's pretty awesome.
Thanks, John.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, what am I, chopped liver? Everybody gets a what's up, and I just get totally ignored?
I want to say hi to you next, Rabbi.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, no problem, man. So, okay, here's my question. I'm 14, and my girlfriend wants to give me oral, and I don't know if I'm ready for it yet.
Wants to give you what?
Oral.
Oral sex.
Yeah.
You know if you're ready?
That's what I'm asking. What
I
do you
think
guys
when people don't know they're ready, they're not ready. I don't care. You apply that term, I don't know I'm ready for X.
Yeah. It's like that
I'm not
adage of
ready.
the person that walks in the Beverly Hills boutique and asks how much kind of thing, and they
Yeah.
say if you have to ask how much, you can't afford it. It's the same. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you say I don't know if I'm ready to fill in the blank, join the army. I don't know if I'm ready to whatever it is. You may not be ready. On the other hand, there's
He's 14.
a point.
He's 14. It's different than just being anxious about it. He's
Yeah, but
not
what-
ready.
All right, but when
Well,
you
let me ask you a question. John, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't see the monitor well. John, do you have any secrets, real secrets?
What do you mean, like?
I don't know, things that have happened in your life that, like, almost no one knows?
No. I don't know.
Okay. Are there any fears or anxieties in your heart that you've never shared with, like, almost anyone but your closest friends and your parents, maybe?
just say
no.
yeah, so we can get
Right,
to it.
exactly.
Would
Thank
John?
you. Well,
I've seen the color blue.
And the only question I'm going to ask is, have you revealed that kind of thing to your girlfriend? In other words, before you guys engage in this whole, oral sex, straight sex, careening through the rafters and the ceiling sex, have you also gotten emotionally naked? Do you guys, like, trust each other? Do you...
Yeah, we just haven't, like we made out and stuff, but we haven't, like, got this far.
Hey, Rabbi.
Yeah.
You're barking up the wrong tree. These are foolish Gentiles. Hey, John.
Yeah?
Foolish Gentile.
Stone foolish Gentiles.
Hey, man.
John. Okay, listen. You like your girlfriend. You're not
Slow
ready.
down.
Just slow
Slow
down.
down. Don't worry
Relax.
about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. All right.
It's like he feels ashamed that he's not ready.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, come on.
Rabbi,
All right.
what do you say? We must have gotten into this last time you were here, but what do you say we push the bar mitzvah age up to, let's say, 28, 29?
I think it's still too young.
Still too
There's
young.
another one at 80.
Yeah.
What do you
80?
have at 80?
Well, look, what is the definition of... That's true, at 81. You know about that from Kirk Douglas, I think, right? He got all this attention for having a second bar mitzvah. Yeah.
You have a second bar mitzvah at 80?
He did it
81.
just to get the presents and the checks. We just always want to...
Yeah.
And the chicks.
Finally, he can go to college.
The stereo. You got a big stereo.
No, but what is maturity? The definition of maturity...
I don't know.
Maybe I'll hear Drew comment on this. The definition of maturity is delayed gratification, the ability to sort of push off a goal.
Well, we have taken that position. We haven't called it maturity, but we've sort of called it the ultimate solution. If you really want to know how to succeed in life, just be able to delay things.
Delayed
a little bit.
gratification, yeah. So
Well,
the beauty of sex is that it's such an overwhelming experience that you have to be mature enough to integrate it into your system, as it were, because that's what makes it fulfilling. That's what makes it pleasurable. When it overwhelms you to the point where you feel swept away and you can't integrate it, I think that you're left with all this unresolved stuff, like the question we just heard.
But you know what the kids do and what the culture supports is just going from one to the next. So you're gratified in the moment, but the turmoil and the shame you're left with it propels you to the next gratification.
Right, you become... Well, I didn't know, actually, until Adam said it, that you were an expert in addictive medicine, because I think there's so many things about sex today are addictive. And like you just said, we're addicted to the highs because we can't deal with the lows. I mean, even the emphasis on looks are everything today.
Yeah.
Sexuality is almost entirely a visual experience. We make love with our eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that
Men do.
Yeah, especially
Women
men.
couldn't do that.
Well,
Nothing would ever happen if women did that.
We're winning a few over to our side. Hey, Chris,
Hello.
you're 30. What's up?
Hey, guys.
Hey,
Rabbi,
Chris.
Doctor.
Chris, that's
Adam,
like a
how
nice
y'all
Jewish
doing?
name. Chris.
What's up there, Chris?
I have a question for you guys, so bear with me here. Girl I just broke up with, she was a Jehovah's Witness. Actually, she still is. She was kind of like a freak. She was like really, really into sex a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
But as we
Sure she wasn't a guy?
what?
Just kidding.
But she was a sexual compulsive, right? She never enough, never was satisfied.
That, and she liked, the sodomy bit. She used to like being abused and everything. And
her parents physically abused her a little bit?
I don't know.
Yes.
Actually, I could never get to open up about it.
Were her parents Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah. She had to go do the whole, traipse around the neighborhood type stuff,
Yeah. God knows what she was peddling door to door. All right, so what's the question?
Well, okay, I was listening to you, Dr. Drew, a couple nights ago. You were like, the women with the pelvic pain during sex.
Oh, yeah, and that's a common sign of sexual abuse, although the sort of a chronic pelvic pain society out there, and they'll tell you, no, it's not anything to do with it, and yet every case I've ever seen...
you mean it's a psychosomatic, or...?
It's not. It's almost psychophysiologic. What's that?
This religion bit. I mean, I'm not like bad-mouthing religion.
Chris, this has nothing to do with religion. She has all the earmarks or signs of somebody that was physically and or sexually abused.
Would never talk about it, and then if you treated this person nice, she'd close off. And
all right. Well, Chris, good. You're broken up. Fine.
Yeah. Well, now I'm just trying to understand things now.
But instead of sort of fathoming her mind, did you ever ask her? Did you ever try to figure this out? Did you ever show her that kind of comfort and support so she would confide in you?
And it was always like, honey, sweetheart, dear, can we talk about this? I see you're upset. The more I did it, she would bite her lip and shake her foot, and you'd see steam coming out of her.
But see, Chris, you're confusing her pre-existing condition with this religion.
Yeah.
The religion may have exacerbated things or confused things, but she was messed up or messed with long before Jehovah stepped into her life.
Yes.
And I'd like to kick this Jehovah's ass. Who is this Jehovah?
Well, probably the reason...
Get a couple of good rabbis, get Irv Rubin over there to kick the ass out of Jehovah.
Probably the reason Jehovah stepped into the parents' life is because what was going on there.
Right,
Let me explain why. Here's what I like about Judaism. Let me kiss the rabbi's hair-covered ass for 1 second.
How did you know that, by the way?
I know that I'm looking at your face. I can only guess what's going on the coolie. Here's what I like about Jews. Nobody turns to Judaism.
I'm glad he doesn't just treat doctors, physicians like this. I mean, it's non-denominational rabbis, presidents, whoever, to talk about their hairy ass. That's good.
Well, listen, I never say hairy ass, but I know the Jews pack a lot of hair down there. They're like the ides. I understand.
Look, if Adam has a certain, a certain appreciation for it, I'm not the one that's going to argue with him.
I look at you as brethren. Forget about the religion. We're bonded by the hairy ass. That is something bigger than God, bigger than Jesus, right, Drew?
In your case.
Thank you. Well, certainly more hair down there.
Okay, you were saying there's something you like about Jews besides our hairy derrieres.
Here's what I like about the Jews. People do not become Jewish after they get high one too many times and kill a family member. They don't find Judaism in prison. They don't find it in a crack house. All the people we speak to, or the lion's share of the people we talk to, are like born-again Christian who became Jehovah's Witness. It was after 10 years of abuse, 10 years of beating the crap. Maybe they killed a few people. They got strung out on heroin. Now, magically, they've discovered Jesus Christ because it's going to save their lives. And I never believe them for a second. It's just another addiction. It's a better addiction than heroin, but it's just another place to take all that energy, other than the therapist's office. I like Judaism because I believe all the Jews that are in it, except for the blonde chicks who I had to convert so that the guy's mom wouldn't kill himself when he married a second wife. All but those converts, I believe. And I like they're there because they want to be there.
No, it's a good point. I mean, the main thing is we Jews get to buy wholesale, which is a pretty compelling argument.
I wasn't
clothing.
But
who's going to find Judaism in prison? You know what I'm saying?
But wait, Chris's point about how religion can lead to some sexual repression is a valid one, because religion from time immemorial has taken this very dualistic approach whereby the body is disgusting and dirty and the soul is lofty and sublime. And the dualistic approach would denigrate sex above all else because it's the most carnal of all activities. The Jewish model is a monistic approach. We don't divide the world into light and darkness, good and evil. The sex is
monolistic, meaning sex once a year. Mono.
That's only for the Jewish supermen. That's way, So But sexuality in the Bible is celebrated. Specifically, okay, fine, in a loving marriage and all that, but it is something celebrated. And in the Jewish religion, it's seen as the highest form of knowledge. And that's an amazing thing, because today we all say that compatibility and communication are the most important elements of a relationship. And Judaism would say that sexuality is its most fundamental component, because it's the only time where you're really true. You disrobe, not just physically, but you take away your inhibitions and your innermost self is revealed. So that's why, and all these people, when they call up and say, I'm 14, I'm doing this and this, my problem with it is, how true a lovemaking experience is it when it's about fumbling and everything else? When two people are mature and they're in love, they have no problem removing their defenses. They're not making love with full body armor. They're not emotionally anorexic, because trust has been built. And then you can have great sex because you can submit entirely to instinct. You can put yourself on autopilot. A lot of this kind of sex going on here is contrived. But Chris's point about religion making other people feel uncomfortable about sex is very valid.
But as far as contrived activities go, it's
amongst the best.
It's amongst the best. That's a takeoff on a Woody Allen line. Adina?
Yeah.
You're 25?
Yeah.
You messed up with birth control pills. Now you're not getting your period. You want to know what to do.
Well, yeah, I had a birth control pill.
And now I messed up. I want to know what to do. Okay.
All right. What should you do, Drew? This isn't a good cliffhanger, so why don't you just tell her real quick?
What pill were you taking?
Orthonovum.
And what'd you do? What happened?
I missed a couple pills.
And what'd you do?
I quit taking the pills.
Altogether?
Uh-huh.
And where were you in the cycle?
Probably like 3/4 through my pack.
And what's happened since?
No period.
That may go on for a few months.
It's been 3 or 4 now.
Then you should see your doctor. But they can do something to kickstart you, give you some progesterone.
It's a kickstart.
It's a kickstart, and or put you just back on the pill.
All right. Before we go to break, Angel.
Hello.
Angel.
Hey.
You're 13. You're alcoholic. Your mom's alcoholic boyfriend just moved in.
I'm not an alcoholic.
Okay. I'm sorry for that allegation. But, but won't you admit that your mom's boyfriend's an alcoholic?
Yeah.
All right. Now we're getting somewhere.
Where's my bourbon?
All right. Hang on. Hang on there,
Okay.
Angel, because I know it's a scary situation. Is he in there yet?
What do you mean?
In the house.
Remember how he's moving into the house?
We moved in with him.
Okay.
Are you in there yet?
Yeah. We've been living there for a week.
Sorry. I'm like speaking in Japanese or something.
Are you scared of him?
Oh, hold on. We're going to take a break. I'm scared of Angel. Oh, boy, do we have the world's dumbest callers on this show. We really do. It's like my mom's alcoholic boyfriend's moving in. Uh-huh. Is he moved in yet? What do you mean? All right. We will take ourselves a break. Probably higher IQ than we've had in here in a long time. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach is our guest tonight, and
I brought a chicken bone for you to choke on for the rest of the night, so you don't even have to it'll get stuck there without you having to work on it.
These Jews have a bizarre euphemistic phrase for their penis, don't they? The chicken bone. I've never heard that one before. I really haven't. It's Loveline. I'm Adam Carolla. He is Dr. Drew. He's shutting his computer as we speak.
No, I'm going to watch because there's a guy named Adam Rules here. He's got a screen name. Wants to ask you a question.
Oh, you know, if you slide a compliment in there, I turn to warm butter. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach is our guest tonight. He's the author of Kosher Sex and Dating Secrets of the Ten Commandments. And he's a very knowledgeable man who has some very valid thoughts on a lot of the stuff that we talk about each night. And I really wish that a lot of our listeners who wouldn't normally go out and get a book like Kosher Sex or Dating Secrets of the Ten Commandments would go out and find those and read those and expose themselves to something that they wouldn't normally be exposed to. That's the great part about being a human being. It's a great part about living in America. It's a great part about being alive right now. You don't have to be a rabbi. It doesn't matter what color you are. You just go out and expose yourself to different ideas. You don't have to become Jewish. You don't have to become Christian. You don't have to become communist. But there's a lot of good ideas floating around out there, and you can treat your life like a big gin rummy hand. Just collect everyone's best. The Jews have a couple of good ones. There's other cultures and other religions that have a couple of good ideas. Just make your own religion. Potluck, rock soup. Go get the best ones.
I'm
that's
not sure
what
that's what Rabbi has in mind.
I know, but listen, that's what I have in mind, and it's my show.
I've always wanted to convert to Atomism.
There you go.
Worship Adam Carolla as your god.
Oh, he advocates that regularly.
Yeah, he thinks the rabbi thinks you're kidding, Drew.
His one-liners become your creed.
I'm not kidding.
Well, listen, it's like politics.
He can make you into this big totem.
There's a couple of good things the Democrats have to say, and a couple of good things the Republicans have to say, and a couple of good things the Independents have to say. Just find the ones you like.
We can make you into an ancient fertility god.
But Adam actually,
thank you.
Yeah, he's into paganism. He is into paganism. But he did stumble onto something I thought was kind of interesting, and I think it's reflected in the history as the Bible.
Stumble on.
No. I mean, we in the course of discussion.
But when I come with a good idea, it's like Jed Clampett when he found oil.
All right.
Why can't I be like Dr. Leakey?
In a moment of clairvoyance,
there you go.
Very brilliant insight into the nature of the human soul.
That's better.
As reflected in the history, as reflected in the Bible, where most of the people that sort of had a very close relationship with God seem to have been in periods of lengthy deprivation. Fast, out in the desert, in jail. Is that true? I mean, sort of we were looking at this and thinking, it seems to be somewhat accurate.
You don't find them in the brothel or the football stadium. I'll tell you that now.
Football stadiums don't really figure, they're not very prevalent in the Bible.
When you're having a good time, you don't want God around to spoil things. That's basically what it is.
Moses does serve in Pharaoh's courts. There's a bit of tennis and stuff, but I haven't seen a football thing yet. No, I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, Moses is said to speak to God face-to-face at almost any place at almost any time.
But it started up in the hills.
Yeah, that's true. No, it is a point. To an extent, you first have to get rid of all the distractions before the inner voice can speak to you. And
let's look
in
at
relationships. That's true. I mean, can you fall in love when you have all these different distractions? People today are very distracted.
Adam does. It falls up in a strip bar every week.
That's right. With Quiet Right blaring over the PA system, I'm still managed to fall in love each and every weekend. Angel?
Yeah?
You're 13.
Mm-hmm.
So you've moved in with your mom to your mom's boyfriend's house.
Yeah.
Or apartment or trailer?
No, it was a house. It's a house.
It's a house.
Yeah.
And how do you know he's an alcoholic?
Because he drinks every night.
Okay. All right, let me write that down.
That's a pretty straightforward conclusion.
And how does it manifest itself? Does he get violent? Does he get out of control?
He's like really controlling and really mean.
Where's your dad? Your biological dad?
I haven't seen him in 2 years.
Was he an alcoholic too?
No.
He wasn't.
That's why she had to get rid of him.
He wasn't a mean guy or controlling guy?
Well, he was mean and controlling, and it was my choice to not see him.
Was he violent?
Yeah, he was with his girlfriends, but he was never violent to me. Okay. I think he was to my little brother, though.
How about to your mom? How about your mom?
No, not to my mom, though.
Why did they break up?
Because he was really controlling.
Yeah.
You know, when my parents divorced Angel, I always used to tell my mother that she should ensure that even though I was a kid, I used to talk to her like I was an adult and tell her to make sure that her loneliness never made her make mistakes in bringing in the wrong guys, that she had a lost self-esteem. And often it takes kids to remind their parents that they're special and make them feel loved so they don't end up with the wrong guy. So maybe you could go to your mother and say, look, this guy's a bit of a jerk. He's an alcoholic. He scares me while you're with him. And then maybe she'll think twice.
Me and my mom have talked about it, and she has issues, and I know what they are. And
what are they?
Well, when both of my grandparents are deaf.
Deaf?
Yeah. And
this still blew up.
Yeah. And she was like never told that she was like loved. Like when she was like really little.
They didn't have a scratch pad. You know what I mean? They couldn't write it down on the refrigerator and post it there or something?
No, it's like they just started like doing it like a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And my grandma's dead though.
Oh boy. All right. Well, listen, hey, Angel.
She's deaf and dead.
That's the double. But there's no doubt that there's no Angel.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that your mom has issues.
Yeah.
But a part of being a parent is putting aside your issues and the best interest of your child.
Being a parent. Being a parent.
That's what being a parent is. Yes, you want to do this. Yes, your instincts are to do that. But no, it's not going to be good for my child.
She's like really fast in relationships, and she's like been married right?
Yeah,
listen, Angel, there's one thing you can do for yourself, and really that's about it. You can take care of yourself, and there's a resource in the community for you called Alateen.
I know about that, but it's just I don't really know about, like, I don't really have a ride, and my mom, like, works full time.
You're gonna have to get resourceful here, Angel.
What you do is you call Alateen or AA, and they will pick you up and take you. They do that all the time.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. That's part of the drill.
Really? We've never talked about that.
Oh, the whole deal is being of service, and people will be of service to one another. And if
you mean
have trouble
a sponsor will...
Not a sponsor, but a person in the program will come and get you and take you to a meeting.
Well, I think Drew's advice is very, very valid, but I think you could also just go to your mother and say, look, I think that you weren't told that you're loved enough, and I love you very much, and you shouldn't be doing this. And you'd be surprised, the way a big log, you can't really light it, you need little twigs to light it first. Sometimes adults learn things from children. And you sound like a pretty intelligent 13-year-old, and I think you should go and tell your mother this as soon as possible. And because not only do you want to look out for her, for yourself, even if you end up getting out of there, you're going to feel very bad to know that your mother's in a dangerous situation. So.
Well, as the old Jewish enema joke goes, it couldn't hoit. But I'm not counting on any results. I do not. I put no faith in the parents of our Loveline listeners.
Well,
but
would you advocate that she go and report him directly? Could she do that?
No, I don't know that he's done anything yet.
Not yet.
He's just drinking. I think you're right. She's tell her mom she loves her and that this guy may not be right for her. And then after that, wait for the guy to honk the horn in the van for the Alateen mobile. Would it just be a regular car? Would it be the Alateen mobile?
If she's lucky, it'd be the mobile. It's shaped like a big
Jägermeister bottle. All right. Actually, it's a wagon. All right. Caitlin?
Yeah.
You're 17?
Yes, I am. And I just want to say I love you guys, and the show's great.
Thank you.
Caitlin.
I've got a problem. I cannot have orgasms whatsoever.
And what's your sort of status?
I've been sexually active for about a year.
Same guy?
Yeah, the same guy for probably about 6 months.
Oh.
And what is...
and then we broke up, and since then I haven't, so...
And so it was when you were with this guy you could not achieve an orgasm. And what was
but no masturbation or anything else.
So you've never had an orgasm?
No.
Yeah. Well, what about the masturbation?
I've literally tried everything. The vibrator and all, and I just can't reach one.
Yeah, well, maybe, women do develop a little bit differently than men, and then women, too. That's the confusing part. I mean, you could have friends that were 15 that were having them, on the gym equipment at school, and then you can't have one with the Badger 3000 series. Yeah. The kind you got to open a window for because the exhaust fumes will kill you from the vibrator. It's unfair. It's totally inconsistent. It's not like what men are, but this can happen, and you may not just be ready.
Robert, here's something I've realized. Maybe you agree with me on this. That I was in a big room talking to a group of college students, and this girl stood up and said, "How come women can't talk about masturbation?" And I went, "Hey, you're in front of 1,200 people talking about it. What do you mean we can't talk about it?" Well, I don't know. We just can't talk about it. I thought, well, do you and your friends talk about it? All the time. Do guys talk about it with you? That's all they want to talk about. As a child, were you told it was bad? No, never. What do you mean you can't talk about it? And we sort of, after a little bit of back and forth, I realized what she was saying is there's no language that is specifically pertinent to women that helps them understand how they function sexually and emotionally. And we sort of use the language of men, which is a very mechanical thing that just operates no matter what. It's more about where not to do it than how to do it. And there's no language about the emotional connect that women need in order to have that natural functioning occur.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that male sexuality is very linear, and we use very linear terms in sex. In other words, it's all about achieving an orgasm, like a line. I start having sex, I haven't reached an orgasm. And female sex is much more circular, and that's the beauty of it. Women can be multi-orgasmic. For them, lovemaking is as much about caressing and foreplay as it is about coitus. And for men, it's about doing something to someone else. With women, it's about sharing with someone else. And I actually lament the fact that sexual language has become so masculine-oriented because it is mechanical.
Yes.
And mechanical means that this happens, this doesn't happen, etc. What I would say is, the essence of orgasm is that something overwhelms you, it sort of overtakes you. And the harder you try to have it, the more difficult it is to have, specifically because you're trying. You can't let go. That's the beauty of an orgasm. It just sort of sweeps you away. So you have to feel good about yourself and good about what you're doing, or it can't happen. It's like if you feel someone doesn't love you. I often speak to wives who know that their husbands are thinking about other women while they make love to them, and they can't have an orgasm because they know that he's on planet Zog. He's just somewhere out there, and he's not mentally present. So they can't climax because they don't feel...
they're not connected.
Exactly.
He's not connected, so they're not connected.
Exactly.
Right.
So maybe you need, a higher form of connection. Do you feel good about yourself in terms of, sexually, your looks, your mind? Do you have self-confidence?
Well, yeah. I mean, I date guys and stuff like that, but I find myself more often than not, like, pleasuring them more often because I know that if they do anything to me, I'm not going to feel anything.
Yeah, that's a bad place to come from. Is your self-esteem... Your self-esteem's not great, is it, Caitlin?
I mean, for a teenager, I guess not. I mean...
How about for a cat? Well, listen, Caitlin, don't worry about pleasuring the guys. Worry about yourself a little more, but don't worry about the orgasm part. Just worry about the relationship.
The intimacy.
Exactly.
That's right. I never thought I'd say that. Raphael?
You come over to the other side.
He's very feminine in his...
You're 19. Thank you.
Yeah, I am.
You pretend to be gay to get girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I understand that. There was this guy at Oxford where I was rabbi for 11 years, and he always used to tell girls, after dating like 3 or 4 times, when everyone expected that it was time for sex, he'd say, I really love you, but I'm going to save myself for the woman I'm going to marry. And the women would just, oh my God, this guy's different. And they'd want to go to bed with him, and it was just a ploy, and it worked every time.
Yeah, that's great. They start bargaining. They're like, well, how about a blowjob? That'd be fine. I don't know. I got to check on that. Let's see. Blowjob. Would that be under B in the Bible? Where would that be?
But isn't it true that women love gay men? They're more nurturing. They're not as goal-oriented.
They're better guys.
They're better. Well, they're better women is what they are. They're jealous. They think they can learn something.
Women are better men.
Yeah, but wait, look at all the big sex idols today. They're Leonardo DiCaprio, very feminine face. The John Wayne look is all out. All these action movies women want guys who are more feminine.
All the idols, especially teen idols, especially men that young women are attracted to, but even older, they possess feminine qualities. They're all hairless. I mean, their bellies aren't covered with hair, are they? I mean, whether it's Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was on this
DiCaprio. No, but the point is yes, they may clean themselves up, but they're not what you call hairy guys. Or even if they do clean themselves up, that's what they look like.
But it's only changed over the past 20 years. Look, my whole life I've had to contend with being a sex symbol. It's been really hard on me.
It must be difficult. You don't know why a woman is with you. Is it that disgusting beard, or is it the mind behind it?
Isn't that, Drew, isn't that just a form of repression on his part, don't you say? Adam's whole life, he's wanted to be me. And he's never come to terms with it.
Oh, if I could only be 6 inches shorter and wear glasses, wouldn't it be utopia?
And be a rabbi. He's always spoken of it such longing.
All right, wait a minute.
Women love religious types because they have no agenda. That's the whole thing. They're not manipulative.
We got to take a break.
It's kind of like being gay. They have to bring it to the other side.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's gay without all the muscles and recycling. We'll take ourselves a little break. We'll be back with Drew and the Rabbi. We'll get to Raphael and find out what his gay in his bait and switch tactic is after this.
It's an interesting question. I want to hear the rest of that. Yeah.
Well, you'll be here. Hell is this? All right. Hey, it's Loveline. I'm Adam Carolla. That is Dr. Drew over there. Phone number 1-800-LVE-191. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach is our guest tonight. Kosher Sex is one of the books he's the author of. Also, Dating Secrets of the 10 Commandments.
You got to change your name to Adam Carolla.
Mm-hmm. Adam. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, the Adam work.
Carolla.
Yeah, Adam's a good Jewish name, or at least that's why people think I'm Jewish. And the Carolla, yeah, that would just do it. That would put me over the edge.
And you have Jewish eyebrows.
I have Jewish eyebrows. I have one big Jewish eyebrow. Yeah,
it's not
two. Please.
Well, the ancient Talmud says that people with one eyebrow are always smarter than people with 2 eyebrows.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
I just made that up now, but since I only have 1 eyebrow too, we got to...
It's really one of the signs of Mongoloidism, isn't it true? It's not intelligence. Isn't that what the Talmud says? All right. The rabbi is here tonight, and not a moment too soon. I have no idea what that means. So, Raphael?
Yeah?
You're 19. You like to pretend you're gay.
Well, actually, it's only been for one person.
Right, so you can move in on the ladies.
Yeah.
And
First, I want to say, Man Show, love it.
great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, you are gay then.
Thank you.
Well, you know, about a year ago, I graduated from high school, and I met this girl, and I was really shy. You know, I didn't know how to talk to her, so I conjured up being gay, you know, to talk to her, not being myself, you know.
Right.
And now we're like best friends and
she still thinks
whole
you're
wide world. And I want her to be my girlfriend.
She still thinks you're gay.
Yeah, she thinks I'm gay.
How much of a friendship could you really have if it's built on such a big old fib?
Well, we go out and she talks to me about everything, and I talk to her about everything. It's like
I don't believe this story, by the way.
First of all, I don't believe that she doesn't know that you're not gay. A woman once said to me the ultimate test. She said, when you first meet a guy and he talks to your chest, he's straight. When a guy meets you and he talks straight to your eyes, he's gay.
That's right. Or anus. Go ahead.
So have you never looked her over? Have you never looked at her body?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think she thinks you're looking for? to see if you're deep down, she's had a sex change operation, she's really a guy?
Maybe that's what intrigues her to try to get him over.
I compliment her on her body, you know, and I don't get nervous when...
How long has this ruse been going on, Raphael?
About a year.
Yeah.
About a year. And now I'm tired of it because I get, like, guys calling my house.
No.
Hey, Raphael.
Yeah.
Listen, go blow your neighbor, would you? I don't believe you for a second, you idiot.
Yeah.
Please. It's a TV story.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
It doesn't. First off, you're really shy. How do you introduce yourself to a woman? Let's just say you're gay. Does that make it any easier to introduce yourself to her? And then you have this great friendship and she doesn't know. And meanwhile, word gets out and the phone's ringing from the local gays in the neighborhood. You know how gay guys are. Once they find out one guy's gay.
His number's all over the toilet.
Phone rings off the hook. That's how the gays are.
Wait, but one second. So why did Raphael, let's say it's a ruse.
Don't care.
Okay, fine. Okay,
Don't
we
care.
won't analyze Raphael.
Jenna?
Yeah?
You're 14. Sorry, what's up? What's going on?
When I was 5, my dad killed himself.
Oh, boy.
And ever since then, I haven't really trusted guys.
Yeah.
Because he left you, or because it was such a violent way that he left?
He killed
Did you feel
himself,
abandoned?
He shot himself.
Oh boy. And right. So it's you don't want to be abandoned again.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really get close to guys.
Oh boy. Is your phone running out of battery juice?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Do you have another phone?
I know. I gotta go find it.
Oh, boy.
All right, can you do that? We'll put you on hold.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
There's something missing to the
All right,
story,
hold
though.
on.
There's more to this story.
Well, here's the deal, and this is what we get from this show a lot. Her dad wasn't Fred McMurray from My Three Sons and then decided to kill himself one evening. He was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic. He was depressed. He was abusive. He was whatever. There was a whole list of things that caused him to arrive at the suicide, which he had to live with for many years before he killed himself.
And I bet there's something with Mom, too, that we would need to know about.
Well, I'm guessing bad cooking. I mean, if he killed himself that way. Right, Drew? Is that
just stop at the cooking?
One of the saddest things that I dealt with in my years as a rabbi to students at a university was how many children, or students, had to deal with parents who killed themselves. Often it was the guy lost a lot of money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One father. Often another story was where a guy just felt abandoned by his family. I think his wife was having an affair, and he felt he wasn't loved. And when you feel you're not loved, when no one recognizes you, then you may as well not exist. And
but you cannot do that to a kid. It's like you should sign a contract that says you'll not kill yourself until your kid's 25 and has a kid of their own.
And let's say you do. Then what do they do to the guy who signed the contract?
They go after him.
Yeah.
Believe me, there are lawyers in this town that could exhume the body and get what they need. Right,
well, in
Drew?
Judaism, the whole thing about suicide is it's a form of murder. Your life's not your own. It's a gift, and for you to take it is a...
It's certainly not your own when you have a few kids.
That's right. Well, that's the whole point. Responsibility is something eternal.
Well, it's like look at it this way. If you're a pilot of an airplane and you decide to kill yourself and it's full of passengers, that ain't killing yourself.
Right.
That's murder.
Like something that happened just recently. Actually, yeah.
And if you have a bunch of kids or even one kid and you kill yourself, you're taking them with you in a certain way.
It is sometimes an act of violence, aggression.
Yeah.
against the other people.
All right, let's.
But you know that. Well, Gemma's not there, but.
She's not.
Well,
Jenna?
Well, Gemma, can I just say one thing? You know that famous line that says, "Love as if you were never hurt before"?
Yeah.
You know, the heart heals. And look, thank God I've not had to endure the tragedy which you speak of. But my parents divorced, and that made me very cynical. And, you know, when the archetypal relationship which was responsible for your existence dissolves before your eyes, then you start thinking that every time you built...
Right in the middle of one of Rabbi's good
one of my preaching
Jewisms right there. Oh, man.
Must have been, that was probably the devil that cut me off or something, you know. But you start believing that, you know, if you build a snowman, it's going to melt. If you see a star twinkling in the dark night, it'll be covered by a cloud the next night. And you become a cynic, and you have to overcome your cynicism, and it's part of training. And you just have to believe again. And one of the ways you do that is not by waiting for people to love you, but it's by making a difference in other people's lives. I would actually encourage you to go and show love to people who have been hurt just like you.
Well,
and once you begin to see that you can make a difference, then you're going to believe again in the power of love.
And it's again not assuming that every love connection is going to end in tragedy or disconnect.
Okay.
It doesn't have to work like that. And there are further connections down the line.
I'm so moved by the Rabbi's words, I'm going to go make number 2 now.
I'm going to take the Rabbi. We're going to be in the relationship chat room on drdrew.com during the break.
I will be in the tiled confessional down the hall. We'll be back. It's a smart religion.
What makes me the Jewish Jew? Is it the fact that I have like hair growing all over my neck?
Super Jew. No,
beard on my forehead.
No, I think there are others.
I'm devolving even as we speak.
There are others that, like I said, the Jewish religion for men is about hygiene and lack thereof. It's like, let's come. You know, I could see the forefathers of this religion sitting around one day saying, "What do you hate to do, Shmuley? I hate to shower. Good. Let's make that a sin. And what about shaving? Pain in the ass. All right, Moishe, good point. No shaving. Well, wait a minute. You can shave, but you have to use a stick. No one's going to do that. That's my point.
When you shave, your face ends up looking like your ass. Isn't that what happens?
Not my ass. My ass looks like your face. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
No, I took it very respectfully.
I hope so.
I took it as a compliment, of course.
I have pay ass. All right, that's a little Payos joke there, Drew.
I didn't know you were so knowledgeable, actually. Yeah.
I know the Jews. Drew? Other Drew? Caller Drew?
14-year-old Drew?
Yeah. How healthy is it to look at pornography on the internet?
Like on a 1 to 10 rating? 10 being most healthy?
Yeah.
I give it a solid 6.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Drew. I'm glad I cleared that up for you.
My problem is on multiple levels. One is I really think parents need to have control over what kids have access to.
Yeah.
And the extent to which the pornography goes in the porno bothers me. You know, how bizarre.
It does. It gets a little bizarre. And little Drew, here's what I'm worried about, quite honestly, is a sort of numbing of America. I mean, when you've seen, Drew, try to focus on the show here, when you've seen, you know, Asian midget stump porn at 13 years old, where do you go and what's that do to you? I mean,
what's it do to you
get
is the question.
numb.
Yeah.
I think you get numb.
I think that's true, and I think it also, not only does it make you numb, it makes you March, April, but of course they need a different woman every month, because once you've seen her, the mystery's gone,
right?
And you need another woman. The whole thing about porn is that it desensitizes you to the erotic nature of the human body. And it also makes you visually interested in sex rather than everything else. A lot of people enjoy watching more than doing. And a lot of husbands and wives love watching, you know, even forget pornography. They love watching sex scenes on TV instead of making love at night. I think television has destroyed sex in the bedroom. Once upon a time, sex was the principal form of recreation at night between a husband and wife. There wasn't TV, there wasn't radio. Today we watch, you know, Letterman and Leno's stand-up, and then at midnight we have a quickie, and we go to sleep. That's why the average husband who says to his wife, "How about a quickie tonight?" she looks back at him and says, "As opposed to what?" I mean, for a lot of people, that's the norm. Well, sex between couples is 7.5 minutes in America right now.
But overall, and just, if I had it my way, it'd be lower. But overall, just, I'm not even talking about sex or pornography, but I'll get back to my Jewish grandfather. God bless him, man.
Did he like to watch?
He could tell a story, that son of a bitch. Unfortunately, it was the same one over and over again. But he could tell a story. And when I slept over at his house, me and my sister, we'd lie down on the sofa there. He'd put my pee bucket next to the bed because I had to get up and whiz at night so I wouldn't ruin the sofa. And he would tell us he would weave these great stories about Hungary and the old school. And he'd tell these great stories. He was a great writer. He was a fictional writer. And he'd make up stories, and he'd had all these great stories, and we just closed our eyes, and it couldn't have gotten any better than that. And surround sound and DVD and all the technology that exists today pales in comparison to what your mind can do when you close your eyes and someone you love tells you a story. And I think, in a way, we're being hit over the head with technology and internets and all this nonsense. And in a way, we think it's good, but the joke is going to be on us. We're missing out.
Well, look, the thing about pornography is that of all the five senses, the one that brings instant gratification is the sense of sight. And that's why it becomes the most addictive. And the problem is it's difficult to wean yourself off it and to actually experience things like taste and things like scent. And I really fear that people are becoming so visual in sex that sex is no longer experiential. And why do you think men love talking so much about sex? And isn't it true that studies show that men think about sex 6 times an hour? I even saw some statistics 6 times a minute.
Yes.
Now, you take all that compared to what they actually do about it, and the disproportionate nature of the two is vast.
Oh, especially with me. Because I think about it more and do it less than the norm, than the curve.
And women, by the way, when they hear about how frequently men think about it, are freaked out about it. It's like you got to be kidding. Like, what a bother.
Yeah.
How awful that must be.
How do you build all those bridges?
Yeah.
There's one final thing, by the way, about pornography, and that is that I think also it leads you to have unrealistic expectations of the female body. The Canadian Film Board says that Playboy takes 22,000 photographs of a centerfold before they actually use the 10 or so which go into the centerfold. Right. Now, you take 22,000 pictures of anyone, it's going to look pretty darn good. And then you compare your wife to that or your girlfriend to that, and they look pretty inadequate, and you feel cheated. That's why you become more...
That's why I'm mad at my parents. You're right.
That's why I've got a job in radio and television.
That's right. So I can weed out the scary broads. Thank you.
But
Josh?
I just on the chat room, I was just seeing where this Planned Parenthood is putting out an ad now about the morning after pill on television.
Good.
Somebody alerted me to that.
Josh? I hope they play it on the Trinity broadcasting system. What's up? You're 20 years old.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on a cellular, so if I cut out on you guys, could you kind of let me know?
Okay. We'll kick you in the shin, you
conversation
idiot.
interruptus from Josh.
No, I got a question for you guys. I don't know. I've had a relationship with this girl for probably a year, 2 years. It's been a good while, probably around 2 years, I'd say. And I don't know. I find myself not so much sexually attracted to her as I did when we. I enjoy oral sex more than I enjoy having sex with her.
You're not into her, Josh.
Oral sex, her performing on you?
With your eyes closed while you think about somebody else?
Think about me getting oral sex?
No.
Come on, I think about you, buddy.
What's that?
All right. Listen, I know where you're coming from. There's two things here. A, you're probably done with this relationship, or B, you just have intimacy issues and have difficulty getting close, or both. Or C, both.
I feel a little bit of both coming from old Josh.
Okay, I find it that I could very well be done with this relationship.
Yeah.
The girl is very much in love with me, and I find it kind of hard to deny her, to tell her that, I've tried many different times to tell her that I'm not interested in her, and she still comes around. She's still around.
Well, you're gonna have to mean it this time. That's all.
Josh, you got to cut her off. It's the only sort of
humane thing to do.
Yeah,
and use humane because you really think about an animal that's suffering, or a cat that's coming around the back door. You can't keep feeding it.
Yeah,
you just can't.
Hey, somebody in the chat room asked, Rabbi, where did you hear about the Canadian Film Board? Are you from Canada?
No, Playboy refuses to reveal their. They've been asked, and they won't reveal.
I see.
The number of photographs they take for a centerfold. You can imagine it makes it less erotic, knowing that this woman's sort of not real and constructed by lenses.
Oh, then the amount of airbrushing and what have you that goes on, the retouching of those photos that goes on is incredible. They're still beautiful women, but man, it's weird when you get old like us and you go hang out and you see some of these playmates. It ain't any fun anymore. They're too young, too stupid, too dizzy. It's screwy.
Well, I was, every year on fashion television, I host this fashion show, and we look at how clothes affects attraction. And I was introduced to this world-famous model, and
you got one hell of an agent, Shmuley. I got to tell you right now.
I put the microphone.
The rabbi, he's jet-setting. He's going around the country. He's hosting shows of his own. This is ridiculous.
I put the microphone in her face, and I say to her, what's it like being born a genetic celebrity without a concomitant need to develop your inner personality and inner dimension? And she looked at me and she said,
What?
What? Exactly. And that monosyllabic response made her instantly unattractive because...
Yeah.
What was there? So,
half a glass of Manischewitz, you'd been right down her panties, Rabbi, please.
Hey, my wife was there. My wife would kill me. I see that you have never met a Jewish wife before, man. They are frightening, okay? I value life far too much to even contemplate that.
No, I know, but
my wife has been trained by the samurai. She's half Japanese, half Jewish, okay?
Right, yeah. I listen, I know.
Nunchuck champion.
I know they're tough women, but here's what I want to say, and Drew, please back me up on this. I don't care how much scripture you read. I don't care how far into the Judaism you are. You could be a 10th degree rabbi, black belt, as you using the analogy.
Your beard could reach to the floor.
You would still hop on the first hot blonde that came by. It's a weakness. They can't help it. It's like the Indians with the alcohol. The Jews, the Jewish men with the Goyim blondes. They can't. It's like a weakness. They can't control themselves.
No, Adam, man.
That may be true.
With
kryptonite.
I am. But I am.
You're married with kids.
I am super Jew. Okay, I am impervious to all that. I am like masculinity and divinity sort of like synthesized into one holy Jew.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. And
now he's going to test me. In the middle of the night, I'm going to get like some strippergram coming in, and
give me any ideas.
Bring me my matzah for Passover or something, and I'm going to know that Adam's behind it.
Don't take this the wrong way, but with the payos and the beard and the hat, the yarmulke, and all the other nonsense, the Coke bottle glasses, you guys are not exactly being hounded by supermodels. It's not. But I'm telling you, if I could get one and sick him on one of these rabbis, I could knock him down in a second. It'd have to be a blonde, a tall, leggy blonde would do it.
She'd have to have a lot of facial hair. Actually,
you have it.
To do it for me.
And I wouldn't blame you, and your wife shouldn't either. You have a genetic predisposition to be to leggy blondes. All Jewish men have that.
I seriously could not imagine doing that to my wife or my family without divinity involved or anything. I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you something. A guy came to me once.
You didn't
and he
go
said
without for so long. He didn't get as much tail as you got in high school, Drew. You got out of your system, thank God. All that knocking around in college.
Look, the beauty of sex, which is intimacy, is this: that you could feel as close the morning after when you're geographically separated as you did the night before when you shared the same bed. A guy said to me once, who's a businessman, travels a lot. He says, "Why shouldn't I cheat on my wife?" And I said to him, "When your wife travels with you, do you cheat on her, while she's there?" He said, "Of course not. She'd kill me." I said, "That's the whole point. Even when she's not there, she's there. She is your wife. She is your flesh, and sex is strong enough to induce that kind of feeling." So it's not Drew's right. It's not even a religious thing. It's about feeling that you're whole, specifically based on the love of a woman to you and you to her.
Oh, I wish I'd said that.
I could.
But this genetic predisposition thing, I'll examine that and get back to you about that, Adam.
I could get.
You sound jealous talking about that as well. He wishes he had the same genes.
Of course,
you have that.
The blonde gene.
I do. Yeah,
you have the blonde gene.
I have the attractive woman gene. I mean, it's an attractive woman. I'm weak, but like all guys. But I don't have the thing that the Jews have, which is the tall blonde.
If you were married, do you think you could hold out?
As long as I married one that was taller and blonder,
So somebody you were really into.
Oh, sure, I could rally for that.
All right.
Erica.
What about 20 years from now?
Did she get older too?
Yeah.
Oh no. I thought you meant she stayed the same age. I was 55. She was 19 still.
I actually want to throw in that I appreciate Drew's comments because the truth is, just as someone who watches and listens to the show, you're a great role model to young people. You're married. You're a devoted father. I enjoy the comments you make about parenthood that I see in the press a lot. And really, you've shown people that celebrity doesn't have to go to your head. That you can be. I mean, look at Adam. It's gone straight to his head. He had to turn sideways to move through the door today.
He is a genius.
It's swelled completely.
To be fair.
Yes, and Erica.
Hi.
You're 20.
Yes.
What's up?
Well, my boyfriend's Jewish. Well, my fiancé, I should say. He's Jewish, and I'm not. And when we told everyone that we were getting married, his grandma right away asked whether I was going to convert to Judaism, or she was mentioning that I should think about when we have kids, which we haven't planned our wedding for, we have it set for a couple of years from now. And I know there's going to be a conflict with that.
Right.
With our families.
What's your religion?
I haven't gone to church in a couple of years, but my father was Baptist and my mom was Catholic. I mean, they don't practice it anymore.
So you don't really have a religion.
No.
You might as well pick up the Judaism.
Well, but the thing is, it's not even...
I'm glad there's a lot of conviction behind that.
Well,
okay, you might as well.
This is something Rabbi must have to deal with.
Yeah, it comes up all the time.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, we're a minority, and a lot of Jews, living in the broader world, not everyone you meet is Jewish, and intermarriage between Jews and non-Jews in this country is at 50%. Now, there's two issues for that in the Jewish community. The first is a collective one. 6 million Jews died at the hands of Hitler, and a lot of people are worried that we're going to lose more and more. I mean, not through any terrible murderous means like that, but still, numbers are going to disappear, numbers will dwindle, and that's a very important issue, and I definitely believe that Jews should marry Jewish. But secondly...
Is that an ethnic thing, or
no, it's
a cultural thing?
I think it's neither ethnic nor cultural. It's more religious. It's that we have a very specific and beautiful tradition, which has enriched the world. We've given the world the idea of the Sabbath, the family, charity. A lot of things come from the Bible, and to the extent that the Jewish people are strong, we can continue to convey and impart those ideals to the rest of the world.
But you have no problem with somebody marrying a woman who was non-Jewish but converts?
Absolutely. Well, that's the second issue. The second issue is, beyond the collective. Sure, I say that Jews should marry Jewish, but I'm also a person, and I know what loneliness is like, and I know my parents divorced. They were lonely and alone for many years. So when two people like you, Erica, falls in love with someone Jewish, the other issue becomes, can your love is comprised of romance on the one hand and pragmatic considerations on the other. So whereas religion isn't important to most people when they fall in love, if they're not religious, later when they have children, they want to give them something, and continuity and tradition becomes much more important. And that's when I see a lot of conflict arising. I would actually encourage you to try and find if the Jewish religion has an appeal to you. We don't coerce people to convert. We're not a proselytizing religion, but maybe there are ideals within it that speak to you.
What about doing two religious paths?
Well,
does that ever work?
No, it's for the kids. It doesn't work for the kids, and it's really the worst possible solution. I'm speaking from experience. Confusing for the kids, even for the parents.
Well, actually, see, I wouldn't have a problem bringing...
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. To be fair to me, my dad practiced Santeria and my mom was pagan, and everything worked out fine. I mean, there wasn't any conflict of issues there.
You guys had like a burning Hanukkah Christmas tree, right? They would light the menorah.
Kill the Hanukkah chicken. You're very confused.
Burn its beak.
And burn it, yeah. Hey, listen, Erica. I'm gonna give you just some very practical advice. Going to make your life a lot easier, right?
Okay.
You convert to Judaism. It's a very solid religion. They take care of their own. They hide a lot of food. You go find it. They give you some money. It's a fantastic religion. You'll have the.
You'll be funny suddenly.
Yeah.
Well,
You'll be good. You'll be good. Grandma will be nice to you. She'll kick off in a few years. You don't go to synagogue.
And
no one
most
knows.
of all, when you're Jewish, you don't go to hell. We don't believe in hell.
That's right.
So suddenly you're saved from hell.
But there's nothing afterlife, though.
No, we believe in an afterlife. We just don't believe in a hell. But as like one guy said to me, Rabbi, how does it help me if you don't believe in it? When I get there, am I just going to say, sorry, this is a figment of my imagination? No, we believe in a place that where you go to get cleansed for up to 11 months, but there's no eternal damnation.
It's Carnegie
It's like
Deli.
a little vacation kind of thing.
The Carnegie Deli. Hey, I feel so sorry for women in this country that they can't get old.
Yeah, but
for fear they get old, their love objects are going to drift away.
All right, but listen,
bizarre.
wise guys, who's the joke ultimately on? You know, the people that are aging or the minions of guys that are constantly dissatisfied? And I mean, how many of those beautiful women are there to go around? Do you know what I'm saying? Aren't most guys with this idealistic form of physicality going to end up disappointed? And then you feel sorry for their partners, but what about them? They go through their whole life disappointed.
Wait a second. I would even say the guys who date models and make love to models are going to end up disappointed because it's a lot more pleasurable to make love to someone with a bit of flesh than it is to a rib cage or a bag of bones. No, I'm serious.
I couldn't agree with you more. Nothing worse than banging on those supermodels.
Why?
I've had it up to here with them. Off my penis now! I command them.
By the way, a lot of studies show that beautiful women are really bad in bed because they never have to compensate by being great lovers. They're just visual. They're genetic celebrities. They don't, in the same way, they don't have to develop the personalities. They don't have to develop their sex routine.
Yeah, but let me explain what I need out of a beautiful woman.
See, rabbis can speak from experience, Adam. What experience do you have in this?
Let me tell you something. I need as much performance out of a beautiful woman as I do out of a beautiful steak. Just hold still on that plate. Let me eat you. That's what I need. Hold still, and I'll get a little mouthful of potato here, and now I'm taking a bite of you. I don't need them to do anything. Just hold still.
All of the great masters like Rubens painted plump women. They were the ones that were attractive 100 years ago. With the visual.
His wife was fat and he didn't want to piss her off. We're going to take ourselves a break. It's the Loveline. I'm Adam Carolla. He is Dr. Drew. Phone number 1-800-LOVE-191. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach is our guest tonight. He is the author of Dating Secrets of the Ten Commandments.
You're getting more phlegm as the evening wears on. That's good.
I feel a cold coming on. And Kosher Sex. He's a very, very wise man, and we're glad to have him back here in the Loveline studio. We will.
I haven't had this much fun in years. This is great.
Yeah, it's not a bad gig, right?
Coffee, tea.
Dr. Drew and
Dr.
me.
Drew's website.
All right. Are we going back here, Drew?
Yeah, and Adam's wearing a new shirt, according to Drew.
Oh, that's right.
And you're telling us that the Jews don't shower and all that. According to Drew, you haven't changed.
You've had a shower recently. I sensed this.
I took a shower yesterday.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm shocked.
Yes. And
the last time I was here, you were sniffing your armpits, and you're not doing that tonight.
I shaved. I'm very confident. I don't have to tonight. I shaved yesterday, so I'm good for the week. Jessica?
Yeah.
You're 20.
Yes, I am.
What's up with you?
Well, actually, I'm married to a guy. He's 37 years old. We've been married for 3 years. And when we got married, I was 5 months pregnant, but it wasn't his kid. That's a long story.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
All right. See?
Well, that's an insignificant detail, which we'll overlook for now. Yeah.
Jew, not a Jew. I can tell you that right now.
No, I was really irresponsible in high school and all that stuff, and I got pregnant, and I decided I was going to take responsibility for myself. And anyway, he came into my life and asked me to marry him, and so we could raise our child together.
34 and 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is very, very suspect in our book. Very suspect.
Yeah. So so for the I was 5 months 5 months pregnant when we got married, and until our baby was born, sex was great and everything. And then after I had the baby, we just didn't have sex at all.
Right afterwards.
Not even right afterwards. I mean, even because I wasn't ready for 2 months or whatever, and then I was ready, and he just wasn't, and he hasn't been for 3 years. I mean, I counted for last year. We probably had sex 4 times, and it's ridiculous, and I just don't know what to do. I've explained it. I told him what I liked. Try to get him to talk, and he just.
What does he say when you talk like that?
He just is like, well, it's the usual. It's like the chick excuses. Well, I'm tired, or I have a headache, or I don't.
He avoids
this guy is full of S.
Yeah.
No. But I have a very uneasy feeling about this one, Jessica.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's a great. He's like the best dad in the world.
Yeah,
and
that's my concern.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Yes.
True. I don't know.
I'm just getting that vibe big time from Jessica. Jessica? Why were you so screwed up in high school?
I didn't go to school, and it wasn't just. I just didn't. It was just boring because I'm really smart.
No, please.
Really smart chicks don't get knocked up at 15 and a half and marry 34-year-olds, you idiot.
I know.
How smart could you be? And what's that make everyone else? Everyone else has to be retards if you're smart. It's insulting.
No, it's not that. It was stupid.
Maybe she wanted to be loved, and maybe this is the only way she thought she could be loved.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
That's what worries us.
That's what we're getting after.
Where's your dad, Jessica?
Oh, yeah, well, he lives in the same town as I do, but I hardly ever talk to him.
Why did he leave, and how old were you?
Probably when I was about 12.
Why?
I mean, we saw him off and on, and he'd come back, and one time I left with him in the middle of the night from my mom's house, and
why?
I went and lived with him, and just
why?
Probably because it's because I always tried to, make him love me, because my mom, it was totally unconditional love, but with my dad, it's you had to work for it, and you wanted him to, be there. And
do you have any stepdads?
Yeah, I did. I actually had a really cool stepdad, but I think he got there a little bit too late. He came into the picture when I was about 15, and I was already then.
You can't use the F word there, Jessica.
What do you mean you're effed up?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, oh, yeah, sorry. She's a language. By the time we moved in with him, I was already, a freshman in high school and smoking pot with my friends.
Why? What was it like? Why did he leave?
Okay.
Why did he leave?
Dad?
Who, my dad?
Yeah, why did he leave?
Oh, we left him.
Why?
Because he was an ass.
What did he do?
He did drugs, and he was just,
What drugs did he do?
He was physical abusive, like when we were really young, but I didn't really remember it, but he was very verbally abusive.
What drugs did he do?
Just, constantly. It's hard to explain. Just, the normal yelling all the time.
What drugs did he do?
Like that.
What drugs did he do?
I didn't really ever notice him do drugs, and later when my mom told me, I guess he was doing cocaine and pot.
All right.
Okay. I am very... Is there any suspicion that he sexually abused you or your sister?
No. That was me and my brother. No.
What about this husband of yours? What's he do for a living?
He's a lawyer.
No. Who? Oh. But wait a minute. The guy's a 34-year-old lawyer, marries a 17-year-old?
Yeah,
this is, hold on a second.
Yeah.
See, this is worse. Yeah. I'd rather just have a construction worker or a miner.
That would make sense.
Because this guy is now diabolical crazy.
Yes.
We normally have just sort of stupid crazy.
Well, also,
they get drunk. They like to tear it up a little.
Now, this guy's methodical. He's,
this guy's mad scientist crazy.
Yeah, diabolical.
Take over the world crazy.
But
I don't trust these guys.
Raise my abuse farm crazy.
Right.
Not interested in my wife anymore. Totally devoted father.
Yeah, to someone who's not his own blood child.
This is what's going on here.
I don't know.
It gives me the creeps like I can't tell you.
Yeah, I know, but you get the creeps very easily. Jessica?
Yeah. Well, Jessica, do you think there's any truth to that? Is that something you suspect?
That I get creeps?
Yeah.
No.
Does he give you the creeps? Or are you just upset that you feel neglected, that you feel he's no longer attracted to you?
Well, I guess it's kind of a little bit of both, because, like, when I was in high school, I went out with this guy basically throughout high school, and later on, like, I was talking to my mom, she goes, it wasn't good for you to be with him because he was very egocentric, and, he was never there, and you just chased after him and chased after him.
Hey, Jessica,
but what Drew is saying to you is that, you were a kid when you dated him, and then he married you. Yeah, you were a child, and now, when you were growing up, he seems to have lost interest in you, and that is suspect.
Yes,
you become an adult, and suddenly he loses interest.
That's what
an alarm bell should be going off.
Yeah, and I told him I wanted a divorce like a couple weeks ago because I met this guy at a bar. And
oh my God!
No, but what am I supposed to do?
Thank God, Mama.
As the conversation goes on, this becomes more and more of a soap opera. You met another guy, so you're more interested in him. But so why are you complaining about the loss of sex in your marriage when you've lost interest in your husband and you're actually focused on somebody else?
Because I'm not really focused on him. It's just nice to be wanted, and I want to.
That's what women do. They will cheat when they have to.
Hey,
I want to save my marriage. I don't
listen, if you want to save your marriage, you better want a therapist.
Yes.
They want your money, and you want their sofa. So go over there.
I am very concerned about
with or without him. And do you think there's any way that
I should just go by myself?
Quiet down and listen.
Yes.
Quiet. Listen to me. Do you think that your husband may be doing anything inappropriate to your son or daughter?
No, I have 2 little boys. I mean,
you had to have another one. You know what I mean? You couldn't wait till you were 19. You had to get pregnant again, goofball.
Oh my God!
It's scary. It's scary, and I hate it when they have boys because they become criminals. At least the women have the dignity to go into pornography. The men we have to deal with who become violent.
But one thing is, it seems...
My brother's growing up great. He's in drama. He's a great actor, and he seems well, actually.
Brother? All right.
But Jessica, you seem addicted to the need for love, and often you're finding it inappropriately. As soon as you have a problem with your husband, even let's say it was a healthy relationship, but there's a problem, you're immediately running to bars looking for other people.
No,
Either you're going to decide to work this thing through, or you're going to decide that for the rest of your life, you're going to find the first addictive kind of love that comes along, and that's never going to satisfy you. So working it through with the therapist really sounds like the right thing to do.
Yes, with or without him. You need to go shut up. You need to go separately and together. And if he won't go with you, you go alone. All right?
Okay.
On behalf of your 2 children, and get your tubes tied. And I don't want it in a slip knot. I want it in a sheep shank. Do you hear me? One that'll never come done. And I don't want to cauterize with one of those little electric prods. I want the guy to take a Cuban cigar and cauterize that. I want you to get it in Havana, this procedure.
Well, you know it's very interesting that Sigmund Freud came up with this theory of the Oedipal complex, which basically was the idea that women or girls were fantasizing about sex with their fathers and fantasizing about being abused by their fathers. And based on that, all of psychoanalysis was born. Later, it was discovered that they actually were abused.
Yes.
So Drew's allowing the alarm bell to go off on a lot of people, but unfortunately, for many people, it's actually the reality.
So common.
Gwen?
Yeah?
You're 18?
What's wrong with men? Why is this?
What is
Especially
up?
now.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, what?
What is going on with you?
Well, I called and I asked a different question because I was a little bit embarrassed to actually ask it to the lady. So,
Okay.
My real question is, I was abused by my father when I was a child, and I have my suspicions that it's affecting my relationships now because every time I get into a relationship, the relationship will only go for about a year, and by the time a year is come, I want to get out of it at all costs necessary. It will just nothing will stop me from getting out of this relationship, and I'm wondering if this is some kind of cycle that I've developed through being traumatized as a small child by my father.
How were you traumatized?
My parents divorced when I was about 9 years old, and I started living with my father, and from the ages of 9 to 17, my father was a drunk, and he was very, very physically abusive to me.
Okay. Hey, Gwen?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we spent so much time on the last call, I'm sorry you're going to get a little short shrift here, but it is definitely affecting you.
Of course. There's no way it couldn't.
Now, let me explain something and pay you a compliment, Gwen. You may have had a bad go of things as a child, just like our last caller had a bad go of things as a child, and you may not have had any therapy, just like our last caller may not have had any therapy, but you clearly have a higher intelligence level, which is going to enable you to seek out therapy and to help yourself. You know, being smarter doesn't help you get out of your problem by figuring it out. It just makes you smart enough to know you need help.
To acknowledge it, absolutely.
Most of the time. And Drew hates it when I talk this way, but it's absolutely true. You take a dumb person that got their ass whipped as a kid, and they're just going to hatch a bunch of other idiots and whip their ass. You get a smarter person. I mean, Gwen is 18 years old. She's already figured out her pattern.
Yeah.
And I never worry about the Gwens of the world. No matter how much abuse they suffered at the hands of their horrible parents, I don't worry about the Gwens of the world. She's not going to have 5 kids. She's not going to repeat this syndrome. She's going to get into therapy. She'll actually be better off than someone who didn't have the abuse and didn't get into therapy.
Well, the intelligence to identify the problem doesn't necessarily bring about the will to actually implement some reparatory therapy.
But some people have a healing intelligence, and others don't. They seek out knowledge.
Yeah.
They want, I mean, if you really look at what is the difference between an animal and a human, what's the difference between an evolved human and a Cro-Magnon human? Somebody who realizes they have a few things that need to be corrected and seek it out instead of drown it in pot and booze.
Yeah, but look, you could be super intelligent like Bill Clinton and continue to make the same mistakes, and he's one of the brightest guys around. The fact is that you have to know what the nature of the problem is and then identify your deepest desires. Now, if your desire is to sustain an intimate relationship, know that what sexual abuse often does is, since you can't stop someone from abusing you, you're young and you're vulnerable, what you can do is you take your heart and you put it in a little box inside and say, look, you could have my body, but my heart you're never going to have. And that leads to problems of intimacy later, because you can give your body to a guy and you can have this relationship, but you won't give your heart and you won't open up. You get, physically naked, but rarely will you get emotionally naked. Now, emotional nakedness is not just a problem of people who've been abused. Today, in a very impersonal universe ruled by technology and television and all this other stuff, people find it difficult to open up. So it's something that all of us need therapy about, be it, professional therapy or just having a good friend and it takes practice. Learn to trust.
I'm with the rabbi. I put my scrotum in the sock drawer and I say to my ladies, is that what he said? Or is it different? I wasn't listening, but I'm with you on putting stuff in the drawer. I'm so down with that. All right, we're going to have to take ourselves a little break.
I don't know for you it was detachable, but that's interesting.
Rabbi.
First, you tell me that the rabbis are all addicted to these leggy blondes, and now one-eyed, eyebrowed talk show hosts are what I'm after.
That's right. Well, in a pinch, Michelle?
Yes?
You're 23. What's that?
My family just came home and they're listening to the radio, so I really don't want them to know what my question's about.
All right.
Well,
so is it possible I can talk to you off the air?
I think we can answer your question without saying what your question was.
1-888 not too late. That's the phone number you call.
I live in Canada.
Near Washington border?
Pardon me?
Where in Canada do you live?
Right across from Detroit.
Oh.
In Windsor.
Yeah. You still, All right, let's see. Let me just try to figure this thing out. That was 3
days ago.
3 days ago.
Very adroit here.
Saturday.
What time of day?
It was that night, Saturday night,
Okay,
probably
Sunday,
around.
Monday. So you have tomorrow to get your hands on something. Okay. There are routine versions of this that used in slightly different ways within that first 3 days after this has happened that can protect you.
Okay.
Is that available in Canada, though?
Absolutely. Can I give you some names?
Sure.
Loveline, Overal. These are usual birth control pills. You just use them in a slightly different way, supervised by your doctor.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
but tomorrow.
Why'd your parents? Your parents came home and turned the radio on?
My brothers.
All right. Well, listen.
You have fans. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, listen. I had to come to grips with my sister being a slut many years ago, and it's important that they do that too. True. You know what I'm.
Been a whole 5 times.
You know what I'm
Not a
talking.
slut.
All right. It's good that they're listening. Hey, fellas, if you're listening, put 2 zeros behind that 5, and there's your number. All right, Michelle. Good luck to you.
Well, thank you.
Take care of business, and do you listen to us on a Detroit station?
I listened, yes, on 97.1 WKRK.
WKRK.
Yeah.
The big crack.
W crack?
The big crack. All right. The wide crack. It's one of our favorite affiliates. Craig?
Holy crap.
You're 16. What's up?
All right. This is a pleasure talking to you guys.
Good to speak to you, Craig.
Is that the way you normally react to some pleasurable experience with that?
They was taught that in finishing school.
To Radio God.
You just put the bong down.
That's what I like.
Huh?
How much weed do you smoke, Craig?
Last weekend, I smoked about an ounce.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you sure?
There are still effects now.
Are you sure it wasn't a kilo?
No.
Was that a Jewish ounce?
Let me tell you something. An ounce is plenty of weed. Plenty.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was the 4 heads.
All right.
I just want to say, Dr. Drew, Adam, Rabbi, you all kick.
Thank you.
Greg, what's your question?
I assume that's a compliment.
No,
Okay.
I'm really nervous right now. So, okay, the deal. My girlfriend and I, we've been going out for about a year and a half now, and were. And I began.
What did he just say?
Huh?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hurry.
We went out for about a year and a half, and then we broke up.
Right.
Because I was getting jealous, which it's a bad trait about me, which I really need to get rid of.
All right, hold on there, Craig. Speaking of getting rid of, always jealous of girlfriend's friends, so she dumped him. Now he wants to try to get back with her.
Yeah, so he's overly zealous in his jealousy, and I guess she feels claustrophobic and trapped, and so she dumped him, and now he wants that. You want to learn how to mellow? Is that it?
No, I put him on hold because he doesn't need. If he mellowed out anymore, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say to all guys and all women who are attempting to get people back. This is never the answer you want to hear, but it's the truth. Craig, if you want to get her back or just get anyone in the future, settle back on the weed. Do not smoke a bale of weed every weekend. Number 1. You don't think it affects you? It greatly affects you.
Especially
I heard
jealousy.
He opened his mouth, and I heard it.
Yeah, well, it magnifies jealousy, for sure.
Usually, Drew...
Makes you paranoid.
Drew catches it on the exhale. With Craig, it was on the inhale. It's like, I'm a stone. Okay, listen, everybody. Stop working on everyone else and start working on yourself. Read a book. Stop the weed so much. Start going to the gym. Do better in school. Build yourself up, and maybe a fly will land on you. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a very inspiring message, gosh.
Everyone goes on... Well, no, I mean, okay, forget about flies. Hummingbird. You want a hummingbird to put its pecker in you? You know what I'm talking about. You got to blossom. You can't just be a weed chasing a hummingbird around. That's what they do. I need a strategy to knock this hummingbird down. That's what they think. Here's the strategy. You blossom and let the hummingbirds come to you.
There you go.
Yeah, but his question about, even without the weed, his question about wanting to possess his girlfriend to such an extent that she feels she feels isolated from her friends is something that happens a lot, because for a lot of people, they just don't understand a relationship is not where you develop an exclusive love. It's an inclusive love. If your relationship is leading you to cut off from parents and friends and everything, there's something wrong. It means that you guys are sort of isolating yourself, building this cocoon.
And whatever it is that stopped you guys from having the relationship in the first place will stop you from having again 3 weeks later.
Oh, yes.
Because all you've done was work on her, and you don't work on yourself. Work on yourself, everyone, believe me. And me. Tim?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do it. You're 24.
I am. I have a question for the rabbi, actually.
Your Jewish girlfriend wants to get you circumcised?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you not circumcised?
No,
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I love her dearly, and that's kind of like the only problem.
But wait a second. I mean,
to me.
are you guys considering marriage?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so she wants you to convert, and circumcision is part of the...
She said that very nonchalantly, and I was like, well, honey, that's kind of a big deal.
Well, I'll tell you, Tim, there's let me tell you about the Jewish optimist.
You don't have to lose your foreskin to convert, do you?
No.
Well, I'll tell you all about this.
Quickly.
The Jewish pessimist is the guy who says things are so bad they can't get any worse. And the Jewish optimist is the guy who says, oh, yes, they can, okay? The Jews are optimists. Before, we at 8 days old, before anything is given a chance to blossom, to use Adam's expression, we take off the foreskin. And the symbolism, of course, is that we take off the part of the body which can grow, which is insensitive and all of that.
Right.
And you cannot become a Jew without circumcision. If you're considering it, then the snip is going to be an integral part.
Well,
now,
you cannot convert to the religion with a foreskin.
That's right.
Is it on the application? Do they need to see it? Who inspects that?
The foreskin?
The rabbis. What do you think I do with my day?
What a gig.
Hey, Adam?
Do they just put it through a hole in the side of the inspection booth, or do you have to see their...
No, we just tell them to wear pants that are so tight you can tell their religion.
How would they actually know?
Yeah.
That you're circumcised? You just called and said you're not circumcised.
Well, right.
I take you at if you want an inspection.
No,
anyway.
how do they know?
We're talking about, like, me converting.
Look, before you become Jewish, you have to be circumcised, and before you convert, you have to be circumcised and subject yourself to a full cavity search by about a team of 10 rabbis, okay?
Hey,
who work in airports.
Tim, let me talk to Tim.
First of all, conversion is a serious thing. I'm joking about it, but it means that you join a people, and part of the seed of Abraham, and the symbol of the seed of Abraham was that they allowed the skin to be removed to show that sex was something glorified and devoted to love and not to...
I'm talking about just for marriage.
Just to actually do the marriage?
Yeah, that's like, she kind of brought that up as just something that she expected.
All right, but
she's talking about the conversion.
Tim.
Yeah, she is talking about conversion.
Yeah, Tim, listen to me, brother.
Yeah.
This is your friend, the Goyim radio show host, speaking here.
He's protecting you here against this rabbi wielding a knife.
Are you an uncircumcised brother?
Yes. Now, listen to me. Let me tell you that this is trouble. Before the marriage, she's asking for the foreskin.
Right.
These Jewish women, they are ball busters. and if this is just a glimpse at the future, you're in for a world of hurt.
Well,
Tim, listen to me.
I'm sorry.
You need to put your big, white, Anglo, God-fearing foot down right now.
Right next.
Do you understand? Because you are heading down a very dark and scary road, my friend.
Hey, Tim, do you love her?
Yeah, but I do, and that's why.
Do you love her enough to lose your foreskin? In other words, first of all, she can tell you to convert unless you're serious about becoming Jewish. Judaism is a serious commitment. It's about laws and rituals and traditions and practices, and circumcision alone ain't going to do it. And I think you have to tell her that because she's taking this very, very simplistic view of the whole thing. Religion is about living a life according to convictions and beliefs, and if you don't have them, the circumcision is absolutely meaningless. You're going to cut something and get nothing in return. Bad deal.
All right, we'll take a break. Well, you get a nice bracelet. And we'll be back after this.